very few people have actually looked below the water surface and to see what's there. It's an amazing thing to see when you start looking on the bottom of these streams how there's just all types of organisms. And one of those organisms is the freshwater mussel.
There's a fan shell.
Freshwater mussels are related to more common things such as clams that you see in the ocean. Well, freshwater mussels usually are found in the larger streams and rivers. I'm a malacologist. That's a mussel biologist.
As a whole, what we're here for is conservation of mussels.
This is the Center for Mollusk Conservation. We're able to bring in mussels from the wild, hold them here in captivity as our brood stock, and then allowing the river water from here at South Elkhorn Creek to flow over our tanks. We have about 60 species here at the center. 8 of those are federal endangered species. This is another endangered animal we have called the fan shell. Freshwater mussels are our natural filter feeders, and they're basically act as little tiny pumps that keep our water clean. These are the siphons. Basically, they're little tubes that stick into the water, and they're able to pump water in through those tubes and collect any food particles that's in the water column. So you just imagine a million tiny little pumps constantly removing the water, the material from the water column and to deposit it on the bottom. What that does is that provides food for animals that live on the bottom, like insects and other things that fish are depending on. They're the most endangered group of animals we have in North America. And one of the reasons for that is we have many rivers and streams in this country that have been altered from people.
Our eventual goal is to be able to grow these species in captivity and then help augment or reintroduce in federally endangered species in areas where they are declining or may have existed at one time and no longer do.
What we do to rear the freshwater mussels at the center is we take a female mussel. So we'll take the larvae. These are little dots on a piece of paper, the size of a grain of salt or smaller, and we'll count out a number of fish that we get from our hatchery or from other source, and we will put a known amount of larvae into a bucket of water with fish, and it only takes a few minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Now again in the wild, what they would do is that these bass would be attracted to that flap, that fishing lure, and then they'd come and strike that lure, and the mussel would release the larvae, and then we can just take the fish, basically just look at its gills and see if we can see the little specks, and then we'll put them in our system and start growing them. This is the most critical stage of development of these mussels, is the juvenile. The mortality or the death rate is the highest when they're first coming off the fish.
When we first get the juveniles into their containers, most juvenile mussels will do real good for about a month, maybe a couple months, and then that's where you have problems, and that's when they're going through a growth spurt. So we have this concentrated algae to get them over that. And this particular area of the facility is where we grow the algae. Now that we know the recipe, it's not hard at all.
Right here we have a juvenile freshwater mussel aquaculture system. These mussels in this system are about 1.5 years old. They've spent their whole lives in this facility, in this system right here. This is actually a common species that we're using as a test model to see how well we can grow the federally endangered species, the pink mucket.
Rarest animals we have is the pink mucket.
So you can grow them to a taggable and releasable size in a system indoors. We can also release a lot more juveniles at a younger age, supplement the population like that.
What we're doing here today on the Green River here at Mumfordville is we're able to release an endangered species of the pink mucket. It hasn't been found here in about 20 years at this particular site.
This was my swimming hole when I was a child 45 years ago. And some of these mussels disappeared during that time, and now it's great to see them come back.
Very few people in the nation, or in the world for that matter, are able to accomplish what we've done here.
We're at a unique point in history where we as an agency, a management agency, we can step in and do something beneficial for a resource that just links right back to the clean water we drink.
You have no idea how exciting it is for me. And it's exciting for me to have my nephew, our 5th generation, to be down here and share us.
You know, we're definitely leading the front on the restoration. And
almost everything that's rare and imperiled is usually linked to water. We as fishermen and hunters, we're really interested in conservation, and when we see a resource like our bass fishing or our sauger fishing going downhill, we really want to know what's going on, and the mussels are the link to helping us understand that.
Without Fish and Wildlife's help, these mussels are losing the fight.
Well, that's why we're here. My folks thought about it before me, and now I would hope to see my 5th generation here be able to have the land as we had it before us.